Welcome back and welcome new viewers. This is an episode of Tuesday Time Bank, where on a weekly basis I show items of a time capsule. And in my channel, I am mainly showing patterns and vintage magazines, sometimes items. Today we have this lovely pattern. This one is from the 1940s. And stay until the end. I have another one similar, but that one's from the 1950s. And this is a very lovely pattern. I always wait to be with you to open up the pattern. I always like to see if they have been used. And one of the things that I have noticed is that patterns from the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and sometimes in the 70s are always used. But I have noticed that as the 80s and 90s and beyond, the patterns have been have been bought and they haven't been used. So let's get going. This is a very lovely pattern. Don't they look different? But they are the same pattern. Just different fabric makes it look so unique. And this pattern, what I like to call is the princess waist, is this B waistline right here, is what you see in the Disney princess dresses, and mainly because it was done in the 1940s and 50s when Disney movies began, or the cartoon ones. I should not say cartoon. I don't even know what to correctly call them. But this one in black is just lovely, and it has this lovely little detail of the era where they put lace in there. Isn't this lovely? And over here you have it in this little print form where you can see more detail. And that is the back. So this is a size 12, 30-inch pattern, probably for a young miss. And look how simple this is. Let me get a pointer here. My thread ripper is my pointer. Look how simple this is. Here you have the front. Here you have the back and the front with the darts. So you sew that in, and that's on the fold. You have your front on the fold and your back, and that's it. And the sleeve. So we have 5 pieces for this very lovely design. So I'm going to put this here and admire it from afar. And we are going to be bringing the other one. This pattern right here, and it's also simplicity. I actually bought this from the same seller because I have the invoice, and I'll show you that in a little second. But this one, very beautiful gown. I like to call these the prom gowns. And that's how it was for me. I had my prom in the late 80s. So, back still then, well, at least maybe in my high school, girls were using these long formal gowns. And this one has this lovely large collar, but it looks very pretty. And you know what? It has that little dart over here. It totally reminds me of the dress that Princess Diana wore. This is from the 50s, so the idea was around back then. So it is accompanied by the looks of a satin sash, and look how long this is. Very pretty with the gloves, and in the other one we have the gloves too, but she has very beautiful, shiny, probably rhinestone of that era bracelet. And you can see a big shine on this one right there. Very, very pretty. I'm not too crazy about the artwork. It looks very vague. I'm more in love with the 1930s pattern artwork. That's why I like to collect them, just to have them. And let's see, right over here we have what looks like a belt. I wonder if they have it here or they bought it. So let's look around the pieces. There's There's more pieces here. I don't see a pattern for the belt. So back in the, especially in the 60s and 70s, because my mom, I remember my mother's fashion as a little kid, she had a lot of dresses with matching belts with the dress, or yeah, basically the dress, but not here. I was actually looking for a belt pattern where they would make the belt actually. Oh, look at this. I can see much more from a like a print of the dress rather than having it in color. Right over here, I totally notice that this one does not have sleeves and this one does. So let's take a look back. And oh yes, just vaguely you can see the little sleeves here. That's why I missed it. I completely and totally missed it right there. Very interesting. And it looks very beautiful actually in white. Good ideas, very beautiful patterns. And let's do what I love to do. This one right here. Let me lift it up a bit so we can see the full head. I love to see if they have been used. So this is a part where I'm very careful. I'll probably be having some little broken pieces. Oh, lovely. Here we have, this really reminds me of the star pattern from the 1940s. And this is actually from the 1940s, but this is from Simplicity. So here we have in print form where we can see the little V skirt. And let's see what the patterns look like even back then in the 40s. Oh, here we have it. It's still in that little dot form. So 1940s has the dot form. So I'm very curious to see what they look like in the pattern for the 1950s. And I do want to make a little bit of a reminder that we in one of the Tuesday Time Bank videos, it said that the patterns in the, what do you call it, something, the delta, I guess, the instructions, it says that the patterns came pre-cut. So that's another thing that I was really wondering about. How would somebody know how to cut these blank patterns? It's because they come pre-cut. So this is the 1950s pattern. Excuse me, but I think a little bit of fine dust there. Oh, look at that. This one in the 1950s, and I don't know if this was done by the previous owner. They already have this, what we are accustomed to see is the information and the writing, what number it is, what part it is. Let me see. They're really packed, and I'll be careful. This is probably the skirt because it's very long, and then it is folded here at the tip. So I'm going to fold it and fold it back. So this pattern has more pieces, not like the other one. This one is actually, thank goodness, it's 5 pieces. The front, the back, and the sleeve, and the front and back of the skirt. So this is one thing I wanted to show. So the patterns show the information, what number or letter. It actually shows, and one of the things that didn't dawn on me, I didn't think about it, that it shows the simplicity, the number, the size, and it comes in different languages too. So that's reassuring to see. How would you know on these blank ones what it belonged to? You really would have to be very careful to work your pattern and store it right back. Otherwise, you would have leftover pieces, basically not knowing if you have multiple patterns, and for seamstresses, we do have multiple patterns. For people that knit, they have multiple balls of yarn. So for us people or collectors, we have multiples of one thing. So very, very interesting. So I will put this here to the side and somewhat show you. I'm going to move the address of our seller. This is a packing slip and not much information here. So one of them, I bought it for $4.25, the other one for $10. And look at the grand shipping. This is very nice as a time capsule to see. I paid $3.86. And then I got a shipping discount, actually, because I bought 2 items. So everything in total was $16.45. Well, now we're almost paying $5 and $6 just for shipping. If you look at patterns, a lot of the sellers sadly want to make their money off of shipping. So I'm covering information. So here it is where I saw one of them is from the 1950s and the other one's from the 1940s. So just covering the information of the seller. Don't want to be giving information. There's a lot of that going on anyways. So I want to thank you for joining me on this Tuesday Time Bank. 2 patterns today, 2 different eras, and they look very similar. So very lovely dresses. Let me know which one is your favorite, or do they both fall in line to where they're very similar. And like I mentioned, these came from the same seller. I kept them together in a plastic bag the way I received them. So please let me know. And don't forget to give me a thumbs up, a comment, and a share. The shares are helping my channel grow. They get to reach more people that find this amusing or entertaining or interesting or informative. So thank you very much for the shares. It's helping my channel grow. We'll see you next week where I have more patterns of a gone by era. And next week I will have 1930 patterns. Have a great week, everybody. Bye.